Reminder, if you're making announcements, to come up to the front so you can hopefully be seen.
Three hoots, we're all good.
Awesome. Our owl decided it needed to update, so I guess we're all good now. So just a reminder, though, if you're making an announcement or speaking tonight, to come up to this area so everyone can hear you. Welcome our guests and visiting Rotarians, Margarita.
So long, guten Tag and hi. Hola. My name is Margarita. We got two guests from different Rotarians. We have Wayne and we have Karen joining us tonight. And of course, with guest speakers. So thank you all for coming here and we're very excited to have you part of our meeting tonight. Happy to be here. Thanks, man.
Thank you for joining. And then virtually, Eileen.
We've got Laura and Larry on.
All right, so tonight we have Karen here, past District Governor Karen here to share some exciting news.
It's very exciting news. Thank you, President Ashley. Hello, everybody. Hello, Laura and Larry.
Larry, sorry.
Okay, and our guest speaker, I'm looking forward to hearing from you too. So Josh thought maybe he could join us, but we'll remember him thankfully as past president. So on behalf of President of Rotary International, Shekhar Mehta, I'm very happy to present past President Josh and your entire club with the 2021-22 Rotary citation. Put it in a little frame. It says, the citation is awarded to the Rotary Club of La Crosse After Hours for helping Rotary serve to change lives of people all over the world. So that's just a little reference to last year's theme when we were serving to change lives. So the citation is the Rotary International Club Mark of Excellence. So about fewer than 1 out of 10 Rotary clubs earn the citation, and you do it by goal setting and then taking intentional action that lead to the outcomes of goals met. So that's exactly what After Hours did. And that's 2 years in a row. So well done. You've strengthened your membership experience, served your community and the world, grew the Rotary Foundation, and grew awareness of Rotary to La Crosse and the environment. And really, most importantly, you might not feel it, but I can promise you it's true. You've strengthened Rotary all over the world, both culturally and just in what we can do for today and for tomorrow. So I hope you take a lot of pride in having received the citation. The heart and the discipline it takes to get it is the same heart and discipline that makes you a great club this day. So congratulations and thank you for all you do.
I want to thank Karen for coming. I know you traveled all the way from Chippewa today.
Yeah, like the soda, it's 10 more minutes.
Thank you for making the trip down here. Hopefully it was beautiful.
It was beautiful and it's always my pleasure to be with you.
Read the fall foliage just for you.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so just membership update. We are at 55 active members, and tonight we have Neil doing our new member pinning.
So I want to welcome to the club Tyler. I don't want to butcher your last name. Tyler? Yeah. Welcome to the Rotary. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to have you.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome.
Galactic. Waffles. Yeah. It's German
Like lots
for-
of holes, but waffles.
It's German for spoonwood. Yeah, spoonwood. Spoonwood. It's like little spoon in German, but it's like.
Oh.
Well, welcome, we're excited to have you. Rachel, good meeting.
So Rachel's another new member that just got approved and sadly she's not able to make it tonight, so we'll get it.
Can you pronounce her last name?
Frisbee. And then we'd like to welcome Emma. Welcome to Rotary After Hours.
Last name to pronounce.
I love it. Congratulations.
Oh, we're taking a good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where's mom tonight?
That photo is on the home screen.
Where's my mom? At home.
But she didn't come over tonight.
She should have.
All right, big smiles, welcome.
Yay.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Neil. Neil is one of our co-chairs of the membership committee. I think that's newer, so we're excited to have Neil on that committee. We're excited to have the three of you to join our club, so it'll help us get our citation this year. All right, October birthdays, there are quite a few. Caitlin had a birthday October 3rd, Pearl Roush, October 4th, Johnny Brevik later this week, October 13th. Alyssa, October 14th. Emma, birthday's coming up next week, October 16th. Weekend, okay, Sunday. And then Nathan, October 11th, so. 21. Oh my gosh, sorry. 21st. Thank you, or happy birthday to all of our October birthdays. Feels like half the people in this room. And then we have 2 October Rotary anniversaries. We have Kelly Connor 1 year, and then Lisa Cobbs 9 years. So congratulations. All right. I want to do a quick thank you to, especially to Bradley, Neil, and Brandon for making us look super awesome in the Torchlight Parade a week and a half ago. Kicked off Oktoberfest. I think we had one of the best floats, but it looked awesome. We had Santa Claus there, James, we had the Grinch, Neil, and then we had some inflatable decorations as well, so.
Confuse the kids with 3 cents.
Yeah.
We confused the kids with 3 cents.
We did. There were 3 Santas in the parade. Only one was the real.
Yes.
I still don't understand that.
Yep, it looked really awesome. We were towards the end, but people stayed, so it was fun. We had a good group, so thank you to everyone that showed up or were watching us from the crowd. And then also another thank you to our bartenders on Oktoberfest. There were, I think, 15 plus of us. We were in the Heritage Tent, so it was a little bit quieter than last year from what I understand, but we made $600 for volunteering. Plus, I think it was $257 in tips. So.
Did we get any?
I don't know. Nathan, did you see if we got any electronic tips? Okay. Okay, yeah, we tried. It was cashless this year, so we tried.
People aren't ready for that yet.
So. Yes, maybe next year we'll catch on, but I'm not sure. But still, it was a great night. The volunteers. And then Mari, as you can see, is not here. Poor thing is down in Florida. Enjoying the warm weather with her next host family, Danny and Eric Rathke. They're down there, I believe, for the week. So she can't be here, but I'm sure she's having a great time. Is there anything you want to add to that? Just a reminder, meet needs with Mari. She is still will be here for the rest of the year, and she would love to get to know our Rotarians. So feel free to reach out to her or reach out to Laura, Lisa, myself, and we can help connect you to go out to eat with her. Remember, you need a background check. Larry also was willing to have people to his house, for dinner to meet her and spend some time with her. And then Laura, do you want to talk about the youth exchange cultural celebration, or do you want me to?
I can if everyone can hear me.
Can hear you great.
Okay, perfect. So the cultural celebration is on Thursday, November the 10th. All the details are right there. The tickets are available through our after hours site. So same registration as what you would do for any of our other events. We have 6 students that are paired, excuse me, 6 students that are paired with local chefs. And you get to try a dish from their home country, as well as spend some time to get to know the exchange students from the different clubs around the Cooley region. Bill will be emceeing, and we'll have some questions that we'll go over to learn a little bit more about the students' hometown. And they each create a board that kind of shows off some of their favorite places and shows pictures of their families as well. We do have a limited registration to 65 people, and they've been slowly rolling in. So if you are interested, please make sure to get your tickets ASAP so that you don't miss out on this event.
Awesome, thank you, Lisa. This is a fundraiser for what? Yeah, so this is or do you want to answer that, Laura? What the fundraiser is for?
I think Lisa can.
So our youth exchange students have the opportunity to go on multiple trips, and they are potentially thousands of dollars, so it's expensive. So this is an opportunity for all the clubs in the area to work together to fundraise to help support them going on 1 or 2 of those trips.
And those will take place this summer, spring, all over.
It's like January to June, kind
Okay.
of spread out. So.
Yeah, so it's a great event. I don't think it's happened the last 2 years. We haven't had youth exchange students, but it is a really nice event. I went to it a couple of years ago, and it's great to see all the different exchange students together representing their countries. And like Lisa said, it is a great way for them to have a little extra money to put towards their trip, because it is pretty pricey. So, and the sign up is if you go to our website to the calendar on November 10th, it says the Youth Exchange Cultural Celebration, so you can sign up there. Service announcements. I don't know if we have anyone. Do you want to talk about highway cleanup, Phil?
Sure. The highway cleanup sign up went out this morning. So please sign up. It'll only be about an hour, and we'll probably end up going over to the club again for some food and refreshments. And the iFeed as well. November 5th from 8 to 10. We need at least 5 more people to sign up, please. And it'll be fun. We'll be in a group and sending over 2,000 meals over to the Ukraine to help them out as well. So join us, it'll be great.
Awesome, thank you. Do you want to talk about the soup event, or?
If anybody is interested in helping us enter a RAH soup at the Bikers Against Child Abuse, remember when they came and presented at our meeting, their main fundraiser is that November 12th at the All-Star Lanes, which is on the far south end of town. Should be really fun. I'm gonna head up the operation, and Brad's gonna be on board with making a soup. We haven't 100% decided on what soup, but we're tossing around some ideas and making it connected to some biker lingo, hopefully. And it's a shout out to the Bikers Against Child Abuse. But I also kind of am really on the lookout for somebody with a pretty solid kitchen for us to prep the soup in, because mine's very small. If anyone has any ideas about that, talk to me, because we'll have fun doing it, and hopefully maybe win. You never know. Represent.
So Aaron, the club entered 1 seat at the club enter a.
Yeah, just because they came to our club, and because
Yeah,
well, I'm interested in entering it, but with other people in the club, I just figured
yeah.
affiliating our club as a shout out to them and our little relationship. So it's just a small connection, but I think Ashley agreed that it'd be a good thing.
When do you need to?
When do I need the kitchen? I believe it that same day, but I'm gonna look a little heavier into that.
There are commercial kitchens in the area across,
You need mine.
Okay.
there you go. Can't beat that.
So
What time is that start, you know?
I will have more information on that next meeting, but I don't have the flyer with me.
It's probably not before me.
I would say, I think it's like lunchtime.
When do we have to enter that? That's probably the question, you get your entry in, or did you show up with your suit first?
I wasn't prepared to answer a bunch of I promise to have the flyer next meeting and we'll square everything down.
Awesome. Well, thank you. If anyone's interested in helping, contact Erin. Yeah. Bradley, do you want to give a little update on the shoe collection?
Sure, so everybody knows my daughter Alice has been collecting shoes for her personal shoe drive, so she can get a mission trip to Africa. And she met her goal, she got over 2,500 pairs of shoes. Wow. And she's gonna get picked up tomorrow with the truck, so tomorrow morning between 8 and 9, we're not gonna load a truck full of shoes. I haven't heard the official count because she was doing that this morning at 6 a.m. off my garage, put the shoes together. So it was a successful event for her, and I'm really proud of her because she did a lot of work to collect all those shoes and put herself out there, which it's hard to do when you're a young adult trying to make your way. So, very happy.
All right, does anyone have any questions about service events?
Yeah.
And we have one more, Sierra is collecting warm clothes for New Horizons, which is women's and children's shelter. So if you have any, I think it's through the end of the month. I think there's boxes over here and we'll bring them at the next meeting as well.
There was an email that went out with details, that's right, more information, otherwise you can contact.
Yeah, sorry, I should have been more prepared for that. Social announcements, we have our annual RAH Friendsgiving on Friday, November 11th. It's at Driftless Axe again. There is a fee, but they cater food in from Famous Dave's. So it's like a Thanksgiving meal. It's usually a lot of fun. It's a great turnout. So I can't remember if the email has gone out about that yet. I don't think so, but it's on our website on the calendar. So there'll be more information coming. And then Eckers Farm, I heard they were gonna do a little get together out there, but I haven't heard anything more about that. So. Public image announcement. Eileen?
Yeah, I can answer any questions about that. So, Public Image has, a couple sweatshirts available. And we have sizes and samples over there for people to try on. You would need to, sign up and also have everything paid for by Sunday, October 30th. If you have any questions, you can let us know. Otherwise, yeah. Ooh, that's a great question. I think we have that information on the sign up. I was looking for an extra small and I don't think we could. So, just a forewarning that I'm not really sure we can, but I can double check for you. Any other questions about, more Rotary after hours things, wearables? No, okay.
There's a sign up over there, so feel free to stop by on your way out. You can pay for it. They're $25 each. There is a hoodie or crew neck, so make sure that you put what one you want on.
There's hats over there too, right?
Yes, there's hats as well. And there's some polio sweatshirts and old Mini Masters t-shirts for a donation. So if you want to get rid of them, grab them. They are.
Yeah.
So, they're random sizes, so it might be a sleep shirt or something like that, but feel free to check that out after the meeting. Oh, and I should say, they will be, the sweatshirts are like royal blue. I think over there, there's some samples that aren't, but it'll be royal blue. All right, any questions on that? Okay. just some upcoming Rotary events. East has bingo. I don't think I've heard any more information on that, but if someone's interested. let
I
me know.
don't think it's gonna be that day.
Oh, okay, just kidding. Ignore
They-
that.
they were- They were fooling around with all kinds of dates at the last meeting I was at last week, the week before, and it may be spring,
Okay,
but I'm pretty sure that's not happening. but-
okay, thank you. I'm glad you're here to tell me that, because I didn't hear anything about it recently. So I feed again, we're looking for a team. There's a STAR meeting, which is for new members, but anyone can join. Coming up November 10th at 7 a.m. at the Capella Center. They'll be talking about the 5 avenues of service, Rotary Foundation, Rotary Works Foundation, youth programs, and some other Rotary things. And then just a reminder that district Tricon is in April here in La Crosse. Polio, very quickly, World Polio Day is October 24th. This year, the district governor put out a challenge that if our district raises $130,000 by March 30th, he will dye his hair purple. So if you're gonna make a donation, do it before that. On top of it, or kind of to match his challenge, the District 6250 put out the Polio Plus Society. So if you make a contribution of $100 a year, you become part of that society. And just a reminder that the donations are matched by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So every dollar you give, they match $2, so it's $3 total. So. If you need more information, there's a website there. Otherwise, feel free to contact me and I will make sure you get the right link. All right, any other announcements? Yes.
So we, for our eviction, we have all 3 of our families lined up. But the downtown club, who has a student, a female from France, and she's going to Logan, still needs a family. So if you are interested or know someone who would want to host a female from France, they are still in need of a family, and we're not down to the wire yet, but like getting pretty close here, so she needs they would like to have a 3rd family to go to. So if you know someone, female from France, going to Logan.
Thank you. And they can contact you. Yeah, no,
Yep, I will put you in touch with the director.
all right. Any other announcements? Yes, Bill.
If anybody is looking for something to do Halloween, we're still looking to fill up another parking lot for trunk or treat. Just for fun.
Awesome. All right, anything else? Okay. All right, well, today we have Tom, I feel like I'm gonna butcher your last name.
Just ignore the CH.
Okay.
Schlesinger.
Schleichinger, thank you, from the Climate Alliance for coming good here to present to us, so. I will turn it over to you.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. We have a small enough group that this can be, I'm hoping, really interactive. You never convince people or you don't have rich discussion unless it's real dialogue. So I'm counting on you guys for that. This is kind of a difficult time because you see the issue of climate change is in the news every night. You see these calamities and disasters hitting. And it can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming, and a lot of people are actually experiencing what's called climate anxiety. But what we also have to do is keep in mind that there is still hope and there are still things we can do about it. But the time for waiting and discussing and waiting for more science is over. The time to act is now. We have a window, we can still act, and we need to take advantage of that now. So the Climate Alliance is a local nonprofit that we started about 2.5 years ago. It's all about energy conservation and helping raise awareness of climate change. In many cases, it's helping people make informed decisions on where they want to be on climate change. It's turned into a political topic. It should never have been a political topic. It's all about science, okay? And science doesn't have values. It's what's there. So I have a PhD in political science, healthcare policy. I was at Gunderson for 20 years, doing a whole variety of things, ended up in strategic planning. And I have a master's in environmental policy. But then I retired like 2.5 years ago, sat on the couch for about 6 months, and my wife said, no, this is not gonna work. You need to go do something. So I got involved with a group of people that were active on climate change and were had this unique, innovative approach to energy conservation, but they were not very organized, and they weren't a company, they weren't a corporation. And so I was the only one with administrative management experience, so I got elected CEO. I think I didn't step back quickly enough when they said we volunteering for CEO. So served as CEO and board president there. And it's been busy. It's been busy 2.5, 3 years, and will continue to get busier. And I'm also an adjunct instructor at UW La Crosse in the management department. So I have a question for you guys. What best describes you? So we'll do it with a show of hands. I haven't heard much about climate change, or I don't think it's much of a problem. I think climate change is real and important, but I'm not yet doing anything about it.
I got it.
Nah. Can you take some?
Oh.
I've taken some steps to change my personal choices, but not a whole lot, and haven't done much beyond that. Or I am actively addressing climate change in my personal choices and working for national policy that lowers greenhouse gases. So how many ones are there? And ones are fine. Twos, threes, fours. And what I typically run across, depending on the group, some twos, very few ones anymore. And the evidence is mounting every day that climate change is here and real. But it helps me target where I need to speak to, whether I need to convince you that climate change is real or whether we can move on to real actions. One thing you want to know before you jump on the bandwagon is what does science say about climate change? And we're now at the point where 99% of climate scientists have it's a consensus. They agree that climate change is real, caused by an increase in greenhouse gases, and it's largely human caused. So you rarely get that broad of a scientific consensus on anything. And so when you do, it means this is what science is saying today. So it's nothing to fool with anymore. It's not something to be debated anymore. So why should you become active in the fight against climate change? It depends. Everyone has their own reasons why they might want to do so. People that are religious would act because they feel they're stewards of the earth. The earth is not ours. We are stewards of the earth, and we're protecting it for our offspring, our kids, and our grandkids. People that are environmentalists believe, they want to preserve the environment and the diversity of species and the beauty of the planet. People that are patriots and believe in energy independence should be in favor of it because we send a lot of money in the case of Wisconsin out of state for energy, right? We send $15 billion every year out of Wisconsin to pay for energy. Some of it to North Dakota, others to Saudi Arabia and OPEC. But obviously we're not energy independent. And so we're at the mercy of OPEC. And we just saw that this week when they did the big price hike, right? And that's going to have a really serious effect on our economy. But, If you go to renewable resources, that's almost all in-state. There was a study done by an organization called the Center on Wisconsin Strategies that said if we switch to renewables, it would generate 160,000 jobs in the state of Wisconsin. So there's great economic reasons for making the change. As well, as students, I'm a student of history, but if you study the Industrial Revolution, and obviously that was a huge shift from the days of cottage industries and rural economies to big factories and migration to the cities, huge change. Whatever industries were dominant back then were no longer dominant. Okay, something like that, a shift on that scale is going to happen as we go to what we have to do to fight climate change. There will be huge business opportunities if we choose to jump on them, because there are spaces where there's no competitors right now. You can go into that space and flourish and carve out a niche for yourself. The alternative is to drag your feet on climate change, and you'll be sort of like the manufacturer of the horse and buggy or saddles back at the turn of the century. They're not around anymore, except, well, locally, we have the Amish. But if you stay behind, your industry is not going to last. If you're going to be based in fossil fuels, it's going to happen because it has to happen for the species to flourish. And then if you have kids and grandkids, you should be really concerned about their future, because the future that we are bequeathing them is nowhere near what we have enjoyed. The quality of life will go down as a result of climate change. And the final reason is, how big of a risk taker do you feel you are? If 99% of cardiologists told me I needed radical surgery, I would get the surgery done. I would take their word for it, right? And if the stakes were literally life and death, it's not something I could choose to put a gamble on. So it's not, do we need to act on climate change? It's what can we each do? You can't sit back and wait for the government to take action on this. We've seen what happens in Washington. It's not pretty, right? There's too many barriers and opposition. A lot of the changes can be done locally and at the state level by business and government and communities. And that's where we have to push the levers. That's where you guys come in. I can't think of an issue that gets more to the heart of the 4-way test than fighting climate change. Is it the truth? Well, there's a huge scientific consensus. Is it fair to all concerned? If we don't act, it will be intensely unfair, because the people least responsible for climate change will suffer the most. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Certainly, and will it be beneficial to all? Very much so. I'll talk about that. So the biggest driver of climate change is fossil fuels, is our reliance on fossil fuels. And I don't want to paint fossil fuels as the bad guy, because we enjoy the standard of living that we have today because of cheap fossil fuels, right? We enjoy this great standard of living, and it's entirely based on cheap fossil fuels. Unfortunately, there is a really serious negative effect to using fossil fuels that we didn't realize for 100 years, maybe, or 70 years, but we've known this since the 1970s. The oil industry itself discovered global warming back in the 70s. And they came up with the term, then they decided not to publish that whole thing, because it would harm their industry. But they came up with the term carbon footprint, because they wanted to put the onus on us, the consumers, to reduce our carbon footprint, as opposed to them changing their business model to one that would not be based on expensive fossil fuels. But as we have increased our use of fossil fuels, so has our production of greenhouse gases, and so has the general warming of the earth. So one little note in terms of the difference between weather and climate, because they're very different things. Weather is the kind of thing that is local and it changes frequently, particularly in Wisconsin, right? You know, if you don't like the weather, wait an hour. So weather is very changeable and it's very local. It just happened. It rained on me in Alaska and I drove home till I crossed and it was bone dry. Climate is broader, covers a much broader geographic region and is more stable. Like there's a tropical climate, there's a North American climate, there's an Arctic climate. And that is what is changing. And do you remember the old commercial for the margarine? Which margarine was it? You don't play with Mother Nature. Yeah, but anyway, we are changing forces that we have no idea what we are unleashing. No idea. So the calamities that could be coming could be horrific, right? But don't stop, don't lose me there. Stay with me because there's an upside to this too. I think you guys know how greenhouse gases cause the earth to warm. But the sun shines down, brings solar heat down to the earth. Some of much of that is reflected back up, and then greenhouse gases act as sort of a feather comforter and keep some of that heat trapped around the earth. And that's a great thing because without that, the earth would have been an ice ball without the presence of some greenhouse gases. The problem is, as we emit more and more, that comforter is getting thicker and thicker and thicker. So what you all notice is the increase in what they call extreme weather events. So you can see starting in 1980, this is actually occurrence data, and it's all the different, each bar is made up of all different kinds of extreme weather events. The scary part is when you bring that forward, it has basically tripled. The number of extreme weather events has tripled since 1980. So some people talk about this as being the new normal, but they're wrong. Because this is just a step in the road to greater warming planet. So this frequency of extreme weather events will continue to grow unless we do something about it. And one of my challenges is when I bring this message to people, everyone is busy. They have their kids and their sports, you know, the kids' sports, and they have their jobs and they have clubs and all these types of things. But I tell you, we have to stop and pay more attention to what's important and a little less maybe to our own lives and the urgency going on in our own lives. Here in Wisconsin, you'll see rising temperatures bringing more extreme heat, more droughts. There will be a longer growing season. That's the good part. The bad part is there will be more big deluges of rain, so it will play havoc with the farmers through the increased rainfall. We'll have more, because of the warmth, we'll have more algae blooms. So like some of our tourism will suffer because people won't want to go into the lakes and rivers that attract people to Wisconsin. And like we hear about the drought, the mega drought that's in California right now. A third of our vegetables and 2/3 of our fruits comes from the California region that is in severe drought right now. So Lake Powell and Lake Mead supply all the water to Southern California. They're at 40% of their historic levels. They are drying up. So another reason for us and needing to act. What's that?
Next oil.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, there's people in California that are already figuring out how they can pipe water.
Yeah.
Yeah, desalinization plants are really expensive to take a long time to build, but they think we have all this pressure off. So we know, you know, we've had the summer drought. This is a shot here in the Cooley region, but we know we have them in Minnesota and Wisconsin every year now. back in August, this past, a year ago, you remember the big storm that hit? This is not like the Kickapoo River or something. This is the road in front of my house in Wedgewood Valley. So the clue would be the fire hydrant out there and the mailbox further up the road a little bit. My road became a raging torrent because I am in the coulee at the end of the upper end of the coulee road. And I always thought, well, you can't have a flood up on the top of the hill. Well, I'm not at the top of the hill. I'm at the top of the road. And so that there's this bowl effect, all the water washing down the coulee and coming down to the center where all the homes are. And so, yeah, we had really extensive dam. Our house didn't. We just had the culvert, the drainage ditch that runs in front of all the homes, 3 feet deep in mud. Just all the way filled with mud. And so we really got off luck compared to what they Florida just now. But the problem with what happened in Florida is that they're trying to rebuild. And there will just be more storms coming of that magnitude or worse. So if they use all this federal money to rebuild, it'll be gone. So our predicament is we have a fairly short time window to act. But the goal for the US is a 50% reduction in greenhouse gases by 2030. And with the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, that gets us much closer to hitting that goal. But there's a lot of barriers and a lot of opposition in the way to meet them. The good news out of all this is the technology to solve climate change pretty much exists today. We're at about 85% there. Batteries need development more. That's the single largest source of funding into the green industry right now, is developing better batteries. But we're nearly there for what we need, right? The problem has been we have lacked the political and social will to act. So the good news is we people can solve the problem. It's not like we don't know what to do. We know how to solve the problem. We have to get active. I think of it like a social movement. Think of women's suffrage in the early 1900s, right? A large social movement because enough people got upset enough that they took action and they got the laws changed. Politicians paid attention. So right now, when they poll Americans, what are your top political issues? Where do you think environment falls?
Yeah.
Six. So it's jobs, inflation, healthcare might be in there, but it's 6, although it's starting to float up now. But until we can convince elected officials that this is a priority for us, why would they change, right? So what can we do is the question of the day, right? And that's a question, there's a real hunger for that. And I always talk about a 3-legged stool. So one is to speak up politically. So get active. Email your congressional representatives and your senators. I don't care which party. Both parties have to come around and start making changes. So I encourage people of both parties to become active. And when there's a congressional vote on an issue, you really need to email them about where they should go. If you join, there's a group called Citizens Climate Lobby, and you can join for free. And they send you text messages and emails of the major things going on in Congress. So it tells you, you need to contact your representative today because they're considering so-and-so bill. So become active politically, communicate your voice, and vote accordingly. You have to get a majority in Congress that is in favor of an aggressive climate stance.
You can call your representatives as well.
Yeah, yeah, you can. Yeah, calling works really well. What doesn't work as well are those mass emails that all say the same thing. you know, they kind of ignore those, but any personal message from a constituent, email or phone call, they pay attention to.
It doesn't take very long.
It really doesn't. It doesn't. And once you have the numbers down, I mean, you have one senator and one representative, two senators, and one representative, right? It doesn't take. So let them know what your priorities are. Talk with friends. This has been a verboten subject. My wife like cringes when I say talk with friends. She's like, they're not all in favor of climate change. There is a very small number of climate deniers left. 12% of the population are climate deniers. The rest are somewhere along the spectrum where they're either really unsure about it, generally uninformed, to all the way to people that are actually alarmed. So about 30% of people are actually alarmed and acting. 20% are concerned, but they think someone else will take care of it, and it's a little further down the road. And then there's people in the middle that just don't know much. And I'm not necessarily trying to reach the people that are already really active. I'm trying to reach the people that are wondering what they can do, or if they question the facts of climate change. And the last category then is changes in your daily life. But the big lever, I have to say, is speaking up politically and talking with your friends. So if you're doing something and you're doing composting or you're putting solar panels up, talk about it with your friends. Tell them, you're doing this because of climate change. You don't have to sit them down and for a big debate. Maybe you'll get a keeping up with the Joneses effect. You're doing something about climate change, you can build start doing something about climate change. But friends and neighbors are trusted people. So if you have concerns about it, share it. So then I have a top 10 list of in the last category, what kinds of things you can do. Check your chat. Reduce food waste. 40% of food is wasted. So 30 to 40. It's as if you went shopping to the market. You came home with 3 big grocery bags. You took one bag, walked over to the trash, and dropped it in the trash. A third of the food in America is wasted. Yeah. I think it's all inclusive. Because there are cities that have programs that they collect the food from all the markets and they bring them to the shelters and all that kind of thing. So you can really reduce it that way too. And organic food waste, stuff that food is made of, generates methane. And methane is a greenhouse gas that is much more dangerous than carbon dioxide. There's less of it in the air, much less of it. But in terms of increasing the temperature, it's much more dangerous than gas. So we really don't want to take food waste and throw it into the landfill. We want to compost. If you live in La Crosse, you can compost for free down at the Isle de Plume. You have to have a decal on your card to from La Crosse. Or you can do some at-home composting as well. But that's a really good. Rethink transportation, driving and flying. International flights are the worst, are the toughest on the environment. Driving a big RV is tough on the environment. They are coming out with electric.
Could you say a little bit more about flying? Because, I'm of the age where all of my friends are flying all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty aware and I'm thinking about, making some, well, I have been making changes actually. So saying fly less.
Fly less
Isn't-
and
is
combine your.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
that's not a very meaningful statement
Ah,
because there's no peer pressure to fly less. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about where I jetted, no, well, not that they jetted, where I
Yeah.
traveled to, or I had
Yeah.
a great experience, and they are lovely experiences.
right, then they are.
But could you say more
So
about
to the extent that we
consumption
can,
of flights?
to the extent that we can have vacations domestically and not do the big overseas flights. I have a daughter studying in Sweden right now. So it's hard to cut down on the overseas flights. So I picked other things to work on. There are carbon offsets you can get for flying. I don't know if you know about those. Delta sells them. they're not really effective at this point. But yeah, I can just say that international flights are one of the toughest in terms of a very large carbon footprint. And it's hard to get around. Planes will be, they are coming up. There is one airline that is going all renewable fuels. They have figured out how to do it. And so they have said, committed to having jets that just are based on renewable fuels. They're the first ones to do it. But I think the others will get on board. And to the extent that happens, you know, flying can come back. So we will get there. It's not like it's gone forever, but for this period of 10 years or so, it's a tough one. But you know, not everyone chooses every one of the 10 to get. I don't know if that helps. Yeah.
One of my questions is I get frustrated because I hear about all renewable resources and fuels and making better batteries. How close is the science to creating all those things without actually using fossil fuels?
Well, it's a couple things. One, in Wisconsin, we use a lot of coal compared to other states, and so
That creates more pollution.
right. But other states are much better, and Excel, for instance, has a really nice plan to phase out their coal-fired plants, and they can better deal with carbon dioxide that comes out at a concentrated spot. Like if it's coming out of everybody's tailpipe, because we have internal combustion engines, there's very little we can do. But when it's at a power plant, there are ways to increase the energy efficiency of that power plant. The other area that we're in is a science called exergy, which is like high value energy conservation. So I just had an energy home audit and they promised like 10 or 15% savings. The exergy can produce 50% savings, but it's kind of going back to basics and using all available energy. We waste a lot of energy. 68% of all energy in America is wasted, most of it in the form of thermal energy. So Excel generates the electricity. You know, they take water, they heat it up super hot. It turns the turbines to produce electricity. They take the super hot water and they dump it in the Mississippi. European countries would take that and use that water to heat and cool buildings. So you can be a lot smarter how you use them. There is a lot of energy out there. We're just not good at using it. What was your question? Yeah, did I answer it?
Kind of, but also with producing better batteries and being able to charge all the cars that 340 million people.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real strain on the grid. So they're working on all these ideas. There's this idea of distributed energy resources. So instead of a big power plant in one spot, we have a lot of little power plants along the way, and they're all different things. They can be biomass digesters, you know, they can be geothermal based, they can be solar, they can be wind. There's a lot of different ways than the standard have one big generating plant and then a big grid from there. So everyone's working on it. The best and brightest are working on solutions for everything you can think of.
I'll give you one example. So my industry, we EPA mandated that we reduce the refrigerants that we use in our equipment to reduce the global warming potential that we have. So we have some smart engineers, chemists that have been coming up with new refrigerant blends that do that. So we reduce our environmental impact within the industry quite a bit in the last 5 years. I just was on a project where we were going through all our plants and creating all new equipment to handle what they were calling now flammable refrigerants. We bought a new refrigerator or freezer capable of having flammable refrigerants in it because propane doesn't affect the ozone like the refrigerant that other refrigerants do. So you're going to start to see your products that you use within your home that cool your gear or top or your house, we'll start to be using these flammable refrigerants. And that's in an effort to reduce the global warming potential that goes with that equipment device. And another thing is there's a law or a mandate that anybody that knowingly releases refrigerant into the environment, it's a $10,000 fine. You're an HVAC technician. So there are things going on to try to prevent and recover those gases that we release. We've always released in the past. To reduce the ozone, global warming potential.
And Crane is really an industry leader. I've studied their plan. They have some great things planned out.
All of that is positive changes. Yeah, in our business is knowingly investing in this. That equipment.
Yeah, what I think is Crane kind of transforming its company to be about climate.
They are, the whole business is changing because they know if we don't, they're not going to be the leader.
Well, you could be an industry leader. Yeah. So, reducing your energy bills and get an energy audit of your home. We just had one done. Oh, okay. 2 minutes, guys. Support renewables. If you can't do solar panels, we're in a cool, you can't do solar panels. Excel has a program called Renewable Connect, where they will add solar panels somewhere. And so there's more solar electricity on their grid. So you can go solar without panels. Eat less meat and dairy. Go electric. Gas stoves are going to be gone in a few years, everything is going to be electric because you can have clean electricity much better than cleaning things up if you have a gas stove or gas appliance. Invest your money responsibly, divest, yeah.
Invest your money responsibly. Becoming green has become kind of a selling point for a lot of different products that we're being told to buy. And greenwashing that has not become a thing. How do we ethically invest our money in products and services that are actually green and not just greenwash?
Yeah, well, the first thing is to divest yourself from fossil companies. Because you can still invest in the rest of the markets. But my financial person asked me, well, you want to take that money and put it into green things? And I said, yes. And they track the companies much better than I do.
But it's also the products in the store that you buy.
Yeah,
Whatever.
right. But
How?
right now, there's no seal of approval kind of thing. That would be great. Well. Yeah. And obviously recycle, reuse. Young people do thrifting, where they shop for their clothes at thrift stores and they get a great deals and they're reusing things. So my question, well, one, help us get in front of other groups to spread this word. And 2, for you to think about. So what's the story you will tell yourself tonight when you leave here? If you believe the message I brought to you, what's keeping you from fully engaging on the topic of climate change? If it really is as dire and as urgent as 99% of scientists say, isn't this something you should stop doing other things? Say, this is crucial to my future, my kids' future, and act. So you don't have to answer that. So any questions?
So, for electricity, how exactly is that created? Is that created by burning coal or?
Well, it depends where you're at. In California, it's much cleaner. They use a lot more renewables than we do here. Wisconsin is notorious for using a lot of coal, but like Excel has a plan to phase out all their coal pretty quickly. So they can meet a lot of targets just by phasing out the coal. But then they'll be relying on natural gas, and that has to be true.
Okay. So it's not very realistic to completely get rid of gas and coal right now, or?
Well, certainly coal. You can't just turn your back on natural gas right now. We need a transition plan. the challenge is we as a society have to realize it's gonna be a huge trade-off. If we don't start changing what we do. But the good, the reason to act is the target is less than 2.3 degrees of warming Fahrenheit. But if it hits 3, it will hit 3 degrees. We're gonna blow past that target for sure. But 3 degrees of increase is a heck of a lot better than 5 or 6 degrees. 5 or 6 degree increase can actually will change civilization as we know it. The poles would be gone, the ice sheets would be down. As that happens, the earth has mechanisms that by itself will continue to warm the earth. So even if we stop using fossil fuels, we have started a process where the earth itself will continue to warm. So we have to act as soon as we can. And some of these will be more expensive choices. The cost, what do you think is the cheapest source of energy today? Which solar. Solar beats them all, and it will drop more this year because of the Inflation Reduction Act. But solar is the cheapest source of electricity that exists today. So we can't say it's a business reason anymore. There are things about you need a base load and things like that. Other questions I can answer? I'm sure I'm out of time.
I had a comment and a question. The comment is connected issue, I think, because a recent story in the news talked about 16% of children 10 and under are experiencing obesity.
Oh,
And the whole concept of encouraging human powered transportation seems like that would potentially solve or start to solve like some of those
Yeah,
issues together. But it seems like something that would have to begin in schools, like younger schools.
it's not just,
where
it's
people are-
it's the way we design communities as well. So we have suburbs, and the only way you can get from the suburb to the city is by taking a car or whatever, so we have to change the way we design.
The question I had, and I could be wrong, but I swore at the beginning of your presentation, you mentioned that this should not be a political
It
thing,
should not be a political issue.
but then it is.
It is. Someone has made it a political issue. There's no reason for it to be one. We are all under threat equally. And this is not about values anymore. This is about the legacy we're leaving to our kids and grandkids. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be around after.
Well, Tom, it's my privilege to thank you on behalf of Rotary After Hours. You both scared us and inspired us. So thank you.
I hope not scared too much.
Appropriately scared.
Yes, thank
Well, thank you for being here. Sounds like it's a topic that people are interested in. So thank you for being here, and you said you'll be here
I'll be around.
after if people have questions, so. Really quick, I know we're over time, sorry about that. Our next meeting is at Dickinson Funeral Home, October 25th. It is going to be off-site. We will not be here. I'm not sure if we're gonna be, I think the plan is to be at the Jackson Street one, but if there's a service, we will be in the Unalaska one. So just make sure you look at your email carefully so you know where we are going to be. And I'm not sure that there's gonna be food at that event, so, or at that meeting, so. All right, everyone, let's stand quick. Fireway pack. All of these things, they are due. This is the truth. Is the fair to all concerned. Will build goodwill and their friendships. Will be beneficial to all concerned. And then just a reminder of upcoming committee meetings. I think ugly sweaters, maybe meetings.
I gotta
tonight.
try to meet right now, if that's possible.
Yeah.
I feel like most of the people in our meeting are also.
We'll figure it out. And then, yeah, so keep an eye on meetings, try and join one.
Should we like stop for 5-10 minutes? Then?
All right.
I have business cards behind.